Good morning, Fayetteville. This is DENO HONDROS, your council member for District 9. I want to welcome everyone, all the listeners to WIDU and the Council Conversation Series. I want to thank WIDU and the Cookmans for allowing council this platform to help keep the residents informed. I have very special guests with me today. Dean Hare, Councilman DJ Hare, the Dean of Council. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
How was your weekend?
It was marvelous.
I have Chief Petty with us from FPD. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Blessed, more than I deserve. And my good friend, Mr. Keys. How are you today?
Good morning, sir.
Doing all right?
All
How was your weekend?
I celebrated 49, so Saturday was my birthday. It was a great time, cooked out, sat on the porch.
You just reminded, that sounds like a good
You're
time.
just a baby.
You just reminded me, I want to shout out to my son. He turned 15 today. So happy birthday, James. I know you're probably not watching. Politics isn't really his thing, but I'll show you the replay. And you said you turned 49. We've known each other about 35 years.
Yeah, about that.
I turned 50 in August, so I'm right behind you. Or I'm right in front of you, actually. Chief Petty, where are you from originally? You a Fayetteville native?
I am. I'm from Fayetteville. I graduated at 71st High School in, I hate to say, 1991.
A Falcon.
Yes.
I was right behind you. I was 94.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was Terry Sanford, though, not 71st. Dean,
Yes.
you're not from Fayetteville originally.
Yes, sir.
You're from Fayetteville, but then you went, tell us about because you had gone up to, was it Delaware?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your
Well,
journey.
that was after college. I moved to Wilmington, Delaware.
Yep.
Stayed a number of years, did some corporate work. I even lived in Boston. I worked for Stone and Webster.
So what high school did you go to? You went to Terry Sanford. You're a Bulldog like me.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us about your past. So you graduate Terry Sanford and then give us a little how you got
graduated
back
Terry
to Fayetteville.
Sanford. Had a small scholarship in football to North Carolina A&T. Went to A&T for a few minutes.
Aggie.
Yeah, as they say, till I die. And, things didn't always move forward like they should when at that time. And I, back at that time at A&T, we had this it was a co-op program where they would help students go to and do interns in different places. And I got an internship at Stone and Webster, and I never came back. I never came back to school. I just worked and
Sound
did
like
the
me,
corporate
except
life.
I did it in high school. I went co-op and I went to Fayetteville Tech, and I had all the schooling I felt I could handle.
Yeah. And eventually, came back, finished school.
Well, there's a lot of things I appreciate about you. You were talking about having a plan. So a lot of times we have a plan, but then God has a different plan.
Yeah.
So we have to follow His plan. But man, sitting next to you two are both Qs. So how does that different generation? How does that Q brotherhood work when you're not the same year?
Well, when like minds lined up, it all comes together. And so I would lean a lot to DJ's wisdom, and I would be able to bring some of my ingenuity to the platform, and then those things work together well.
I think everyone on council leans to Dean Hare for his wisdom. Chief, tell us a little bit. So you graduated from 71st, and then how's your path to FPD?
Yeah, so I originally went to UNC Charlotte as a mechanical engineering major.
49ers.
Oh yeah. Spent about 2 years in that program, and just there were two things. I grew up around law enforcement and the military. My mom retired from the State Bureau of Investigation, so I was always around police officers.
Yeah, I started
And
that program.
after about 2 years, I just woke up one day and said this wasn't for me, and kind of switched gears. I'd originally wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force, but law enforcement kept drawing me. Yeah, so switched up to criminal justice, ended up coming home, joined the military, and came back and finished up my college at Fayetteville State University.
Yeah.
Bronco.
Oh yeah. So graduated there, and I was already on the police department by the time I finished my college degree, but got hired here in '97, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah.
Very good. 97, so 20...
A little over 28 years.
Yeah.
So
Done
tell me
a
a
great
little
job
bit,
for us. Yeah.
current chief, Roberto O'Brien. Before him was Kim Braden, and then we had Chief Hawkins, and then we had, I think, was it Medlock?
Yes, sir.
And then, was it Hanson?
Bergamot.
Bergamot. And
Bergamot, yeah.
Who was was Bergamot your first chief?
Hanson. Hanson's the one that hired me.
Hanson. So tell me a little bit how that, when you're in a profession, in a career for 28 years, and you go through changes in leadership and other things. So I know you could probably talk about it all day, but in a brief, couple of minutes, the difference between serving under Chief Hanson to Chief Bergamot all the way till today.
Well, I've had some exceptional leaders in my life. I'll say that. And when I first came on, we were still kind of hard knocks in your face type police work. And one of the things I've always said about law enforcement is if you're not flexible and willing to change with the times, you're not going to last.
Yes, very good.
You have to, mindsets change, people change, philosophies change. So I've been able to take something from every chief I've ever had and adapt my style and what I try to impress upon the younger officers. So they all have the same desire, and that's to make the community safe. It's just how they approach it sometimes is a little different.
Well, that goes with, that's a great perspective. It goes for life too, right? The only constant is change. So we all, no matter what we're in, have to be able to adapt, or you're just kind of getting left behind. I know, Curran, you're big on, you said earlier, innovation. We got to stay up with the times. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing the last year or two, what you plan on doing the next year or two to come.
I had transitioned out of the screen printing and textile business and into education, and so that has been a beautiful experience. Being able I teach 7th grade over at Westover Middle, and under Dr. Brown, I think in 2024, she had a 99.3 academic growth in those spaces, and she's done some magical things with a stressed social and economic group, and being able to turn the school around. And so under her leadership, I've learned a lot. And so comparing my business background to education and things of that nature, it's a growing experience, especially to have a boss for the first time.
Yeah, and I'm proud of a lot of my friends. I was proud of you when you decided to give back in the way of teaching and mentoring our younger generations. I know it's fun to be in your class. I wish I could have been there. Dean, I want to ask you the same question with Chief Petty. So you've been on council 24 years. So when you're in a career in this case elected public service that long, tell us a little bit of the difference. Who was your first mayor on your first term?
Mayor Dawkins.
So from Dawkins to all the mayors you served under to where we are. Tell us a little bit about that, your experience.
Wow. Well, everybody has a different perspective. They got a different flavor of the way they flow.
Sure.
And as a public servant, and I always try to tell people this, it's not one direction. It's many directions. And just like the chief just said, you got to learn to evolve and accept and get along with other perspectives and kind of go forward from there, other leadership, and go from there. And if you don't do that, it really doesn't work out well. And I try to teach that to the younger folk or the younger ones that come behind me.
Yeah, you got to mentor us.
Yeah. For those that are listening, you try to do that. But it's just been adapting. And you have to have a passion in anything that you do. But serving, when you're dealing with people, we all have approximately, 23 to 25,000 people in our district.
That's right.
And you have to have a passion to serve people, know when to speak, not to speak, just to listen and not, and make, those moves and decisions you have to make. And if you don't have that passion and love for folk, you won't make it, you won't last long, the people won't keep you there. And so that's what I've tried to learn, is to have a passion to sit down with people wherever they are. In the backyard, if they're cutting grass, sitting on a bucket or something, I go to people's houses sometimes, and we sitting outside, we're talking. And I have seen it, when you listen to people, I have seen it to bring me great dividends. And when I say I love serving, that's not a word I just like to use. I truly do love serving.
You do, and passion for people, that's a mouthful. And I appreciate, there's a lot of things I appreciate about you. One, man of faith, but also I try to, none of us are perfect, so we all have strengths and weaknesses. So I try to see something that I'm weak in and find somebody that has that strength and take from them. Whatever all of our colleagues, whatever their strength is, if I'm weak in that area, I try to emulate them to make myself better, right? So just what you spoke to, not only having a passion for people, but from my perspective, your relationship with your constituents in your district is second to none. So that's one thing.
Thank you.
You're different positions, right? Different stages of life.
Yeah.
So you're retired. I'm working. So I don't have the time, but that's one thing that I always try to get better. I always try to look at myself in the mirror every day and try to get better. And one thing I lack, or I think there's room for improvement, I have opportunity there, is to be more responsive and be more. I have the passion for the people, but meeting them where you are, where they are. Like I said, you're second to none. I think any council member, any council colleague would be hard pressed to beat. They might get close, but to beat your relationship with your constituents is pretty difficult thing to do. You set the bar high for us, and I appreciate that. Corinne, I want to, before I forget, tell us a little bit. We usually do our show about service, whether it's public service, nonprofit service, and just Fayetteville in general. Tell us a little bit. I know you served on the City of Fayetteville Stormwater Advisory Board. I'm a big proponent of the city's. I think there's 26 advisory boards and commissions, and you all are the public voice and help, guide council's decisions on a lot of things. So tell us about your experience on the Stormwater Advisory Board. I think you also served on the Dogwood Festival Board, so I want to talk about that afterwards.
Serving on the board it was one of the most wonderful experiences I'd ever had, because you really find out some people that are subject matter experts and why they serve. So stormwater meant something to me because I own a facility that's in a flood zone, and then my home is, like, part of the property that I own is over the creek. And so I saw some of the problems that Langdon Street area had in there during flooding or whatever like that. And so I've pushed water uphill out of my shop. So those are experiences that I was familiar with from French drains and all the things. And so when I had to bring my experience and other experiences in there, learning about the 50-year flood plan, the 100-year flood plan, understanding and being able to get that information out. And it was paramount when harder storms would hit, because I was equipped with the information to get that out to the people. So that was one of the greatest things that I could say, is that knowing that these are flood areas, this is going to happen if you live in this area, if your grandparents live in this area, here are some things that can help you.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, and I've served on the Stormwater Advisory Board as well, and just dealing with real estate, when I applied and got sworn in, I thought I knew a lot about stormwater, and then serving on that board, you really realize, or at least I did, how much I really didn't know.
Whitaker Grannis is one of the greatest minds in reference to that, and I just learned so much up under him. And it gave me an opportunity to understand FEMA and how that flood insurance really works in those spaces. So
right,
very informative.
How about your experience on the Dogwood Festival?
Dogwood was fun. Dogwood was fun because the idea, the premise is we want to just bring an amazing event to Fayetteville. So I had the experience of voting on the new director, Caitlin. She came in, she had a lot of skill sets, whether it's marketing, growing, make it whatever. She was able to hit the ground running, and it was a great experience working with various different people from various different backgrounds to bring a staple festival in our city together. So it's a working board, though. You don't just meet, and they don't do anything. There's no Zoom meetings with Dogwood. You got to come in, you got to press the flesh. All of us work the festival Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All of those bike racks that you see, you will have some moved by the event, but that's mostly, sweat equity of the board.
Now, the Stormwater Advisory Board, I think we had enlarged that board to 9 members. How many members are on Dogwood Festival? Do you remember, ballpark?
I think quorum is 8 or 9, and I think we carry
maybe 12 or
15.
15.
But then they built the system where you have voting members of the board, and then you had non-voting members of the board. Just so in case in case we needed to make quorum, you can vote on, and then we move forward.
Gotcha. Dean, I'm gonna come back to you about your appointment committee chair, but first, Chief Petty, I want you to jump in. Throughout the years, I know you've had to have at least a couple years where you were involved with FPD, with the Dogwood Festival and other festivals. Tell us a little bit about those special events and how FPD kind of schedule those things in.
So we work a lot of special events, and yes, I've done 20-something years of Dogwood, so it feels strange to me and foreign to actually be able to go to it and enjoy it when I'm not working. So
as an attendee.
So if you're holding a special event, there's a couple different ways. There is a special event permit through the city that people can apply for or need to apply for. And if the city deems it what they call a city-sponsored event, when you fill out your special event permit, it basically mandates how many security personnel you should have based off your estimated attendance.
Gotcha.
So there's certain city-sponsored events like the Dogwood and the Folk Festival where the city agrees to participate and provide police officers. If it's not a city-sponsored event, and say you're mandated to have 3 security officers there, you can contact our internal affairs section, and they will put you in what's called ODM, which is our off-duty management software, where you basically request the officers, and then it goes out to the department, and they sign up to work the event.
Awesome. Dean, you chair our appointment committee, the council appointment committee. So the 26 different boards and commissions, advisory boards and commissions that the citizens serve on, that committee is responsible for going through the applications and making our recommendations, and then obviously the full council votes on it. But I think you've been the chair since I've been on council, or at least most of those years. But tell us a little bit about that experience. I know that's one of your passions.
Yeah, it is. It's a task. And one thing that I have learned, maybe, I don't know if I started out that way, and a lot of times, through longevity, you learn. You should learn. You should adapt and adjust. And maybe I didn't put the depth in it like I should have, but now I'm really, maybe the last 10, 11 years, not just putting someone on a board because you know them, you've seen them somewhere, but really what their background is as it relates to that board. We are doing that now. We're probably more intense now. That's why I said whenever we had a work session or something one day, we said, well, what do you want to do? You want to bring everybody in, all the applicants in, and go through that? Because some council members are saying, well, what do we know, this and that? We put it in, and you said in a lot of those meetings. Are you on the board with me? Oh, okay, okay. And I said it that way because DENO goes to about every board committee meeting, so I forget exactly which one he's on. Okay, but he's there with me. I think it's you and I and
Mayor Pro Tem, I think,
Mayor Pro
and
Tem.
Councilman Davis.
Yeah, and Davis. You have to study each name and their background. And then we have some of those boards that you have to have a direct relationship with, like an attorney, an accountant, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. So it's not easy. You just don't go through and say, okay, this name, that name. No, you go through that application, you put the detailed work in. Do they last? Staff really does a good job now. We could not do it without them.
Yeah.
So it's a very involved
it's
committee. A lot of passion, hard work goes in there to line the people up, because one thing, we want them to stay.
That's
we
right.
don't want to get in there and stay a minute and quit, and then we're starting the whole thing all over. So it's very, very involved, and I think we're doing a much better job, maybe the last 4 or 5 years, than probably ever have done before.
Yeah, and the appointment periods, usually we appoint in the spring and the fall, and those binders are about that thick with all the applications in it. So it's a task.
Yes,
a lot of the
yes,
committees that council has involve a lot of background work that's not at the council meetings, but
Right.
very few are as challenging or as time intensive as the appointment committee.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go to break and we'll be back soon. Pastor, take us out.
My man.
Republican U.S. Senate candidate Michael Wadley kicked off his tour of eastern North Carolina over the weekend. The U.S. military says it carried out what it called self-defense strikes on Iranian radar and drone control sites over the weekend, while Iran said it targeted an airbase used in the U.S. attack on the two countries continued to trade strikes and talks to end their war. Former Vice President Mike Pence said Sunday that President Donald Trump's second administration has departed from traditional conservative principles. He was a guest on NBC's Meet the Press. Reidsville Police Department is warning of an increased police presence at a rock quarry on US 29 business because of a body being found. Drivers traveling through downtown Monroe near Charlotte may notice an increased police presence starting today as the Monroe Police Department launches its new Slow Monroe campaign. Mike Rayleigh, NCI News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. The Heart Walk and Talk for Seniors is coming up on June 2nd. It is at 10 a.m. at the Tokay Senior Fitness Center track at 328 Hamilton Street in Fayetteville. You'll get valuable information about heart health and walk the track. Reminder that beginning June 1st, the Cumberland County Department of Social Services will offer free box fans to eligible residents through the Fan Giveaway program to help families stay safe during the summer heat. Residents may qualify if they meet income requirements and have a household member under age 2, over the age of 60, or with a heat-sensitive medical condition. Visit DSS at 1225 Ramsey Street in Fayetteville or call 910-677-2388, or you can call 910-677-2389 to get more information about the fans that are, again, eligible for some residents. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
It's a warm and muggy start here to our Monday morning. We're looking at temperatures in the 60s, highs today making it well into the 80s. We stand the chance for isolated showers as you go south of I-40 heading into the afternoon. Other than that, humidity levels will fall from north to south throughout the afternoon and evening, making for a comfortable overnight with lows about 57 to 62. Not quite as warm on Tuesday with highs near 80 degrees. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
This is Apostle Norman Wilson Neal
and Evangelist Carolyn Murphy,
a Word of Life teaching and deliverance broadcast, and you are listening to Wake Up.
Bless the Lord. I'm Dr. Ann T. Newell, pastor of the Soul Harvest Apostolic Church, the church not just there in the community, but there for the community of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We're looking for more than a few good men and women to join the team. Iron sharpeneth iron. We may have what you need. You may have what we need. Catch the vision. Join the team. Join Wake Up.
It's time again for your conference, CCFM Conference 2026, Wednesday, June 24th through Saturday, June 27th at the Florence Center, Florence, South Carolina. We will welcome Apostle Joshua Giles, Pastor T. Renee Glenn, Dr. Darius Daniels, Pastor John F. Hanna, Bishop Melvin Lambert, Bishop Bobby Hilton, and our psalmists, Pastor Smokey Norfolk, Pastor Wendy Wyatt, Pastor Naomi Rain, Pastor Lillian Lloyd. Yes, this is your conference, CCFM Conference 2026 at the Florence Center. Admission is free, but registration has major advantages. For more information, go to ccfmnation.org, ccfmnation.org. You don't want to miss the King's Summit CCFM Conference 2026, June 24th through the 27th. Come hungry for God's presence.
This is Sarah Alford, and I am the pastor of Joy Fellowship Outreach Ministry located at 18336 Highway 87 West, Tar Heel, North Carolina. And I am excited to be a part of Wake Up.
Hi, this is DJ Paul G.
And this is DJ 06. And we are the Gospel Blend Brothers. Join us every Friday
from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. for
the Drive Time Gospel Mix.
As we get you to and from your destination.
Vibing on good gospel music.
In the mix.
On WIDU 99.7 FM and 1600 AM. The Drive Time Gospel Mix.
Welcome back. Again, this is Councilmember DENO HONDROS, your council representative for District 9, City of Fayetteville. Have with me special guest Dean Hare, the Dean of Council, Representative DJ Hare from District 4, Chief Petty from FPD, and Curran Keys, lifetime friend. Chief, I wanted to start with you. I think you're a graduate of the FBI National Academy.
Correct, 2016.
2016. Tell us a little bit about that experience, and I think you're on the board now.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2016. FBI National Academy is a leadership school for law enforcement. I think the statistic is less than 0.5% of all law enforcement in the world get to attend. We had 28 countries represented at my session.
Wow.
So I graduated in 2016, came on the board, got elected to the Alumni Association North Carolina chapter, and we have additional leadership training throughout the year. One of the things that I'm most proud of, I think, is National Academy has what they call the Youth Leadership Program. Students actually attend Quantico, the same place we went to for ours, and go through a week-long leadership course. So we would take applications, and unfortunately, the North Carolina chapter, we could only send one.
Oh, wow.
So we were turning down a lot of, great kids.
Now, is that, you say youth, is that high school age, college age?
Yes. So the national level, you have to be at least a junior. Your junior year, you can't do it your senior year. But because we were turning down quality kids, because we could only send one, the chapter decided to start a state youth leadership program. And we take applications starting in January. And we take them to the Highway Patrol Training Facility in Raleigh, and they go through a week-long youth leadership program there. And I'm happy to say this will be my 5th year as part of the cadre.
So how many kids are able to go to the state?
Right now, this year, we have 28.
28, wow.
We've had several from Fayetteville graduate from the state level, and as a matter of fact, we've actually sent one to national. A little pat on our back, my family, my wife and I, Danielle, we were able to get our son, Trent. Okay. He applied for national and got accepted, so he went to national.
Good. That's good, yeah.
And, FPD, we've had several, even though only 0.5% of all law enforcement go through this FBI Academy, there's been several through Fayetteville Police Department.
Yes.
Can you rattle some of them off?
Sure. So Captain John Benazzi just recently graduated.
He was on last month, I think.
Yes, yes. You're lucky if you get one seat per year. It's typically, I think Fayetteville's been running one seat about every year and a half. But because I'm on the Alumni Association and I'm so heavily involved, we're able to secure more seats. So if I get, my goal is to get one a year every year that I'm on the board.
Sure.
And Captain Ryan Manley attended. He since has gone, and he's now the Albemarle chief. Chief Braden attended. Chief Hawkins attended. Chief Medlock attended. Several past assistant chiefs: James Nolette, Anthony Kelly.
Wow.
So at one time we had 7 graduates within the PD, and
that's like the FPD Wall of Fame. The people you just think.
Yeah. So I'm pretty proud of that.
This is something all of Fayetteville should be proud of. Dean, you have a event or announcement coming up, I think, or several probably.
Yeah, we have a couple. First, let me just let everyone know that if you are a big pickleball fan, as I am, and tennis fan, as I'm not, but pickleball, of course, we will be having our grand opening on this Wednesday.
The official ribbon cutting.
The official
Not the
ribbon
sneak peek,
cutting.
the
Yep,
official.
yep. This is the hard one here.
That's 10 a.m.?
It is at 10 a.m. It is Wednesday, June the 3rd. And of course, that is 730 Filter Plant Drive. So we're asking everyone to come out and be a part of that. Let's go ahead and break it in and get it ready. I hope to be one of those. I don't know if I'll do it that day because it'll be quite a few people, but maybe a couple of days later, I'll be out there on the courts with my
You
paddle.
hear that, Fayetteville? You're invited this Wednesday, 2 days from today, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
at the new tennis facility. It's been a long time coming. That's one of the projects had a little hiccup, but it's ready.
Yeah.
Bring your racket, bring your family. Come on
Yeah.
out, 10 a.m. We're going to cut that ribbon.
Yeah, we've got a large pickleball family here.
Yes, pickle and
that's how
tennis.
I got involved through the fans and the players. A lot of them were live in my district. Also, I'm very, very honored to receive the 11th annual Mesa Simmons Graham Service Award. It's an award that is given for those that have given high quality degree of service, integrity, and passion. And that is going to be on June the 5th at 11 a.m. at the Health Center East. That's our new Health Center East at 917 Washington Drive, where I grew up. Would love for you to come out and celebrate with my family and I. And I'm honored to get the award. I don't get a lot of awards.
The Senior Center.
The Senior Center. Senior Center East.
Is what day?
It is the 5th.
The 5th.
It's June the 5th at 11 a.m.
Friday at 11.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yeah,
You should get an award about once every 6 months for your service. But you take what you can get, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Keys, we talked about Dogwood. We talked about Stormwater. Is there any other nonprofits you've served on?
So just to go back and revisit Dogwood since we have Chief
Sure.
here, I wanted to say y'all did a phenomenal job at Dogwood. So I've gone to Dogwood for years, then served on the board, and then came back and I've seen some things that I remember, concerns that we had at Dogwood, and they were immediately addressed. The things that we had concerns with last year, the Fayetteville Police Department and the board at Dogwood with their security measures made it really, really safe. So with very little hiccup. So being there, being of Fayetteville, I am not a Fayetteville native, but I've been here since '91. First car, first girlfriend, college. I'm a Fayetteville native.
A lot of taxes.
Right, a lot of property taxes. Yeah, definitely that. So, as a citizen, I felt good. And so I was like, okay, this is what we need, families and things of that nature. And Fayetteville needs a lot more of that. So, thank you.
Yeah, we're quick as a society, I think, sometimes to kind of highlight or put the spotlight on the negative. That sometimes we're not as quick to give the kudos. So for all the festivals and all the special events that go out without a hitch, we appreciate FPD and fire.
But DENO, may I?
Yeah, please.
And this is to show you the effectiveness. How many arrests do you have to make every day, on average?
How many arrests do we make citywide?
Every day.
I could probably break it down weekly. We're probably in 40s to 50s easy.
50 a week?
7, 8 a day.
50 a day?
50 a week.
50 a week. So if 50 a week,
7, 8 a day.
that's 2,500 a year. You have to be excellent. If one goes wrong,
Right.
that you got to look at the percentage. For 1% to go wrong is 25. But if 2 went wrong, you got the percentage of that. And so that is a very stressful job. And as somebody that teaches the kids, I'm in the classroom of the kids that go home to some of those households. And so I get to see all sides of it. So I would say, for Dogwood to come out the way it did, on the backside of that thing, that was, between the board and the police and the security, whatever, it was a great thing to see.
Oh, we appreciate that. And I'll say this, so it's taxing on the police department whenever we have these large scale events. But it gives us an opportunity to get out and interact in a manner that we normally don't have. You know, nobody calls 911 when they're having a great day.
Right.
So typically our interaction with the community is in a negative light. And one of the things you said that I like to tell people is when you look at our stats, and the chief does his annual report, and you look at the total number of police interactions we have, the total number of arrests we make, and then you compare that to the amount of times we've utilized force, it is extremely low. So, you know, we stress and make sure our officers are trained in de-escalation tactics. Do we always get it right? No. But we value life, we value people, and any chance we get, like a dogwood, to interact in a means other than what we're normally doing so is a plus for us.
Yeah, and you hit on something, Chief, that I want to highlight again. You know, the first responders, the EMTs, the fire, the police, you're interacting with people 99.99% of the time at the absolute worst moment they're having, maybe in their lifetime. You know, we're calling 911 in our absolute worst moment and need help. So, you know, it's impossible to be a first responder and not have a certain level of stress, right?
Of
I mean,
course.
it just comes with the job.
Yeah,
and that's kind of when, and I appreciate WIDU for informing the residents and allowing us this platform. But at the end of the day, it's about the first responder service, elected public servants, the residents, because we always say when we meet with residents, whether it's a community watch meeting, whether they come to City Hall for a meeting, wherever, government, we're not going to solve your problem. We can't by ourselves. So it's a partnership between the residents, between their elected public service, between staff. And at the end of the day, we're all human, though, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're a first responder, doesn't matter if you're an elected public servant, doesn't matter if you're a resident, you know, tax-paying resident and volunteer, whatever capacity is. Because everybody, when I do these shows, everybody volunteers in something, and I learn something about people all the time. And I know them from one group or one nonprofit, but then they come on the show and they say, oh, well, I've been on this and that and the other, and you're like, man, I didn't know you did all that. So, you know, we all bleed the same red at the end of the day. So I think sometimes, you know, we talked about our districts, right? So we got 24,000 on average population residents that live in each district.
Correct.
Every decision we make, we have a work session today. We got another work session on the budget Thursday. Every decision you and I make, you raise your hand, you vote on something. If you make 14,000 people happy with your vote, there might be 10,000 in your district that are upset. So it's hard to,
can't make them
you
all.
know, we can't even get all of council to agree all the time.
Correct.
And we talk about the evolution of stuff. I'll take a little privilege here. So from my first term, it was hard for me when we had agenda items. If a vote didn't go my way, to not take it personal.
Oh no.
Right?
Oh no,
but then
don't do that.
In my second term, I changed and I looked in the mirror and I wanted to hold myself accountable in that if a vote didn't go my way, what could I have done better? How could I have articulated my position to help convince my colleagues to have voted my way? But now in my third term, it just kind of comes with experience and wisdom.
That's right.
And experience, there's no substitute for experience.
Yes, sir.
But there's not one, you know, the mayor doesn't make all the decisions for council. There's not one council member, there's 10 of us,
That's
right?
correct.
So through my personal evolution, and maybe sometimes it takes me longer to have stuff sink in my hard head sometimes, but because it's a human reaction if we don't get our way. We've had colleagues since you and I have served together where, if y'all didn't support this thing,
Right. I know where you're headed.
Then you're not a good person or you're not.
Yeah.
No, I've learned to accept that if a vote doesn't go my way, as long as 6 council members vote something forward, I have to believe, unless you give me a reason not to believe, I have to believe that all of our colleagues are supporting something or not supporting something because they believe that's what's in the best interest of the city of Fayetteville at that moment in time with the information we have at hand. And so, you know, I can accept that. If a vote doesn't go my way, 6 other council members, 6 of our colleagues voted to move something forward or not move something forward. I can sleep at night knowing that is probably what's best for the city of Fayetteville at that moment in time.
And you know, Dino, that's sometimes the biggest problem what you said is great, and it sounds good, and it's good if you can accept that.
Yeah.
But even here still today, that attitude is still there.
Oh,
right
sure.
now, even though we say, well, just let it go. I mean, I've had to actually learn. Now, of course, with a spiritual life, has helped me a lot. My age has helped me a lot, dealing with so many different dynamics of people. But you really have to do that. You really can't hold it, because you're going to be bringing more items.
That's right.
There are going to be more agenda items, more concerns, and on and on. And so don't take it and hold it and make a divide with you and other council members, because they're the ones that you're going to be needing that vote from.
Absolutely.
It's called wisdom.
Yeah. You got to learn to roll with it.
So I tell the young officers, it's hard not to take it personal when somebody's fighting you.
Yeah.
You go to make an arrest, and I
right,
try to
Chief.
make sure they understand they're not fighting you as an individual. They're fighting the system. They're fighting what you represent. So, and then, of course, it goes to court, and sometimes the case doesn't go your way. And just like you, I sat many a night wondering what I could do differently, and now it's just, you still got to do what you got to do.
That's right. That's right.
Chief, I think your wife's also involved in a nonprofit.
She is. My wife Danielle, she works for the Partnership for Children. So I've spent many weekends helping out with her events. But our whole family's service oriented. Got one son in college going to UNC Greensboro in the medical field. He wants to be a nurse. Our middle son wants to go to West Point, and he's working his tail off to get there. So, yeah, family of service.
Family
Mr.
of
Keys,
service.
You
Family of service.
I think I asked you on the break. I don't know if I asked you on the air. Have you served on other nonprofit boards or
I
commissions
did.
or the other advisory
So
boards?
earlier on, as a younger businessman, but in my 30s, I served on the board for Seed, and so I can't stress enough that if you are a new business owner, or I would say every small business owner, needs to reach out to Seed in some capacity.
For those that don't know, tell us what SEED stands for. It's the Center for
Economic Empowerment and Development.
Right.
So that's down there on. I'm glad I knew that. Yeah, you put me on the spot. But you got to put a spotlight on Susie, who's the director, and Stuart. I've had 2 loans from them, paid them back, and they worked with us. Sometimes I had one paid back really quick. I had another one where they had to work with us. But it's not just the loans, it's the information. A lot of people say, well, I can put this in my business name and do this in business. And those things are inaccurate. You see a lot of misinformation on the internet. Sure. If you have a 520 credit score, we can get you $250,000 in. And I tell somebody, I said, listen, buying a $250,000 house that's worth $300,000 is a month of paperwork. This is what, and I said, tell somebody, you're buying an asset that has, where the bank will have collateral, and it takes a month. There is no way, and so Seed provides some amazing information with the consistency of that. People think, well, it's in my, and just to be short, somebody said, well, it's in my business name. If I get sued, I said, let me tell you something. It takes one internet trip to Secretary of State. They go down to the bottom line and see who signed it, and your name is on it. I said, they will sue you and your company. And now you got to go to the judge and say, well, no, that's not me, with your own address and stuff listed on that. And so the best thing in business is pay your bills on time and don't take out too much money, and be consistent in there. Understanding that your business credit is literally 2 years tax returns tied, your 2 years tax returns of your business tied to your personal credit.
That's right.
Everything has a personal guarantor. I don't care if it's Microsoft or Facebook. There is somebody, some CFO that signed his name.
Well, and when you get it publicly traded, it changes a little bit, right? But yes, so, I've been doing commercial real estate for the last 27 years. So you put a lease in your LLC or your corporation name, that's great, but you're going to your point, you're going to sign that personal guarantee.
The company does not have magic fingers, and so I would say with Seed, they are a great resource of information and consistency.
Yeah, shout out to Seed, all the great work they're doing locally, and I'd be hard pressed not to mention also the Fayetteville Cumberland Entrepreneurial and Business Hub at
Yeah.
FSU.
Oh, yeah.
That was outside of anything personal or familial. You know, we got a lot of groundbreakings and ribbon cuts, but we cut that ribbon, and there was folks from the university and folks from the county and folks
Dr.
from the
Crowman's
city.
over there, right?
And
She's doing a phenomenal job.
I literally teared up because I think back as young entrepreneurs here locally, if that was available in '94 when I opened my first business and I could reach out to those resources and tap in, you know, my life could have took a whole different path.
It was, but not in. It didn't have the marketing, and I'm gonna tell you where it was. It was 2 doors over.
Yeah.
His name was Floyd Shorter.
Yeah.
Floyd Lee Shorter.
I was thinking that. I was going to say the same thing.
Floyd
You beat
Lee
me to
Shorter.
it, yeah.
So I used to come and sit in the office over there, and he would pour the wisdom, but it wasn't as marketed. You had to go to his office. You had to go look for it, and so I was blessed to be exposed to, you know, the Pembertons, the Shorters, like the Hares. He'll ask you, he'll tell you now. I call him all the time. What real estate? What you got going on? So things of that nature. And so, as I sit at the feet of wisdom of Mr. Hare as much as I can, you know, but he knows I'll bug him, and I'll text him in that because I respect that experience, and these experiences make things better. And to tap on one thing. Speaking of experience, I wanted to go back and revisit the Westover situation, if at all possible.
Yeah.
So when I worked at Westover Middle, you deal with a socioeconomic you've never seen before. You talk about passion. You talk about a kid coming to school, bright-eyed, ready to go. He smells like weed because his household is like that. That's not really who he is, but the household. And I have a principal that recognizes this baby's hungry. Let me feed him. I have a principal, like we had assistant principal, Rob, she would have a snack cabinet in there, various things, because they understood that a lot of the disturbances that happened in the classroom were based upon the child's home life. And if there's no order, there's no instruction. And so I had some of the most phenomenal minds fighting uphill battles with Dr. Brown, Miss Rob, Mr. Vaughn, you know, even the teacher beside me, Miss Jules, Miss Howard, the bookkeeper, Mr. Blue, the maintenance man. You have no idea the significance and the burden even on the maintenance man for the facility.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's understaffed, he has to stay, you know, and so all of those things came together. And so Westover is a magical place because anybody can do it with ideal students that come from a 2-parent home with 6-figure backgrounds and things of that nature. But when you take a kid in a stressed environment, and you see that kid score 4 or 5 on the EOG, knowing that they may have went home this weekend and not had complete meals, you know that you gave it your all. And so Westover Middle is a special place. I'm grateful for my time there, and I had to get that out to let Dr. Brown know she's done some really amazing
that's
things.
Powerful. And on council, we always try to look at how can we support our youth, whether it's through our rec centers, you know, through FPD. We just renewed the agreement for the SRO and TCO agreement with Cumberland County Schools.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I haven't dug into all the details, but the state legislature is supposed to pass a budget that's supposed to include pay raise for educators.
That's what they say.
Don't do it often, but I want to shout out our Cumberland, or often enough, I should say, our partners at Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. They fully funded Cumberland County Schools last year during the budget. That was the first time, if not in my lifetime, the first time I can remember as an adult that Cumberland County Schools received 100% of the funding that they asked for. So these things, you know, to your point, Kern, you know, having been an educator yourself and kind of experienced it firsthand, you know, our educators and everybody in the schools give so much of themselves. To not support them, you know, it's just crazy to me why we don't pay teachers what they're worth.
I do.
We could do a whole other show for that.
You know, I didn't know when the conversation started, and I was a part of the conversation then with Senator Rand with the lottery. And when that was about to be created, the number one focus was education.
Sure.
You remember.
It's the North Carolina Education Lottery. It's in the name.
Yeah. And I've always struggled with why the education institution in North Carolina is still struggling with all of this funding that was this position was created to help the schools and the education system, and they have to beg the lottery for money. I've never understood it. I've never accepted it. I've never liked it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I totally agree. It's a shame that our teachers and all the parts of the education system, they still begging.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
And
It
whether
doesn't.
you're, whatever political spectrum, wherever you land on that, even as a conservative, I don't understand the logic why you wouldn't want to invest in our future.
Why?
Well, there's a reason why private schools do so well in the state. You think about it.
Yeah, I wish we'd have talked about this earlier. We could do a whole show. I know we got about
sure
a minute
enough
to
can.
wind down.
You get me heated up on the education.
It just makes it defies logic to me. And as we get older, right, we learn from the ones before us. We stand on the shoulders of those titans, and then we try to provide our little bit of wisdom and experience to the next generation. To not want to invest in the next generation just blows my mind. And people tell me, well, you can't tell them all the trade secrets. You gotta, you can train them, but you got to keep 10 or 15%. No, I want them to know everything I know, not to be as good as me, to be better than me, because that one day I'm going to need them.
The old folks.
I want my son to know everything I know and more, because I'm going to need him one day to take care of me.
The old folks say die empty. And what they mean by that is give it all out.
Yeah.
And the information and things of that nature. I don't hold anything. I have notebooks. I have my sons know where to go. When I wrote a business plan, he'll go and he would go through it to see where I went wrong. And I said,
We're running out of time.
Right.
Real quick, Chief Petty, favorite dessert?
Oh, peach cobbler.
Favorite dessert?
Cheesecake.
Dean?
I'm not a great big sweets guy, so.
Favorite food? Favorite food?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. That's a good snack. Hey, I'm Greek, so I like baklava.
It was passed
Thank
down.
you, Pastor Brittany. Thank you for everyone listening.